back in 5 days, and it was a very big, giant aircraft I was on. I was just thinking, you know, I want those wings on that airplane, I want the engines to work. I don't want those things constructed by people who are under some authority by God. You know, I want them to test them. I don't want metal fatigue to suddenly crunch that thing and have it go into the earth. So these are the things that are very important in the kind of subjects we teach at the university, in engineering, in the sciences department, in the computer department, all these things. You want things to be tried, tested, tried, and true. Descartes wrote a philosophical work where he said, I'm going to subject everything to doubt. I'm going to doubt everything. I'm going to apply the technique of universal doubt. And I'm going to doubt everything unless it's proven. And that's how, of course, we want. We want that in a university. We want everything doubted in a university unless you can prove it. And that's why we don't deal with the supernatural, because you can't prove the supernatural. Nobody ever has. I don't think anyone ever will. If you can prove that there is a supernatural, if you can prove that Jesus exploded and caused the image on the Shroud of Turin, I was in Turin just the other day, okay, fine. So prove it, and then we'll accept it, and we'll believe that it's a supernatural. But until you can do that, we're not going to entertain it in the university. And nobody has ever done it, and they're not likely to do it. Maybe they will one day. But for the moment, they aren't doing it, right? And so even the miracles of the Gospels, for instance, or in the Old Testament, the Quran doesn't have that many miracles. It talks about Old Testament and New Testament things, and therefore there are some miracles talked about, but for the Muslims, the Quran itself is the miracle. They think that's a miraculous book, that someone could write that. For a non-believer, just a pretty clever work of poetry. But for the believer, it's a miraculous thing from the angels. Given to Muhammad. Muhammad couldn't read or write. There's another miracle, they say. I don't agree with that. I think he could. But in any case, he could recite, and other people could write it down. So he didn't really have to read and write. And he didn't have to read because it could be read to him. So that argument that he couldn't read or write, therefore this is a miraculous book, doesn't really. I mean, there are plenty of musicians in the American South who are blind, who can't read music, who are the best musicians in the whole universe, and it's all done through hearing and oral anyway. And most of the good musicians in the American Appalachia tradition learn it through just through imitation and oral, and I don't know what the word you would use to describe how they learn how to play the fiddle, but they don't go to a conservatory to learn how to play the fiddle. They watch mommy and daddy play it and hear what mommy and daddy did or their grandparents did, and then they start playing it. And they can't even probably write a note. And they can't probably read a note either, a lot of them. So that doesn't hold any, I mean, that's supposed to impress the average person, but it doesn't impress someone who's under the influence of Descartes, subjecting everything to universal doubt. That hasn't proven anything. That's a good argument for everyday usage. He couldn't read or write, therefore this is a miracle. No. That's possible, but the fact of the matter is someone could have read him stories or could have told him stories around the campfire, and classical people have prodigious memories, and poets learn their craft through reciting things out loud and so on. And he didn't have to write anything down. He could dictate it, and other people could write it down ultimately after he recited it. So nothing is proven by the fact that supposedly he couldn't read or write. I think he could read or write because he was a caravan trader, and he had to at least be able to write accounts and keep accounts and give chits and receipts and things. He was a very successful caravan trader, so therefore he was a pretty good businessman, and good businessmen keep accounts and can give receipts anyway, if nothing else. He knew some elementary things. He didn't necessarily go to Cal State University. Going to Cal State University might not have even helped him. I don't know. So anyway, that's not a question. But okay, so the miracles that we have that people are supposed to believe in. You're free to believe in them if you want. You go to a church or mosque or wherever you want, synagogue, believe in these things. But in university, we can't teach them. We can say, okay, they wrote this down, but we can't say this happened. We can't say this is true. we can only tell you what people say happened, but we can in the university say it did happen without proof. In other words, if we said it did happen, we'd be advocating, we'd be propagandists, we'd be teaching Buddha is correct, Krishna is correct, Jesus is correct, Muhammad is correct, Moses is correct. We can't do that, or we shouldn't do that. And if someone is doing that, they're not a good university professor. They actually should be in a theological seminary. If you see someone who is doing that, well, that person really doesn't belong in a state-sponsored university. I can't stop that person from being here. But in any case, they're not a good university teacher. They should be in a theological seminary, and where the views that they are advocating are promoted. But the university has to really follow the Descartes view. You have to doubt everything. So Descartes said, I'm going to subject everything to universal doubt. You have to be a skeptic, and unless it's proven. If it's proven, fine. So Descartes said, I'm going to subject everything to universal doubt, except I want to find something I can't doubt. I want a first principle. So what did he come up with? See, you guys are at a university, and they haven't even told you that, which is sad in a way. Now, it's not your fault. It's the people who taught you fault. That should be one of the first things people taught people in high school. Certainly by the time when people got to college, it should have been taught people. You know, some basis on which to construct a truth idea. And the fact that you guys have never even heard of it, meaning that the people who've been teaching you are really lacking somewhere. That they've missed, that they're missing their trade. You say, oh no, you're retarded. No, I don't think I am. Okay, so what was his first principle? Once I tell it to you, and I know that you will be impressed by it, you will never forget it because it's very elegant. It's like you all know that Einstein created the theory of relativity. Okay, we all know that, but not that we know what the theory of relativity is, but we all know about Einstein. So Descartes, it's called the cogito. I don't really know Latin that well, but it's Latin. So what did he say? I think therefore. So you do know it. I think therefore I am. So how did he, why is that the first principle? Well, he said, one thing I know I can't doubt. I'm here doubting, or I'm here thinking. I know at least that much. I may know a lot more. I may know that red is red, or blue is blue, or the air is hot today, or something like that. I may know lots of things. But one thing for sure that I know is